Writers, authors on this program, especially when they're just about to become an author in residence at Collins Booksellers. Doesn't that sound fancy? And Mirella Di Benedetto also has a brand new memoir out. It's been years in the making, and she joins me in studio this morning. Mirella, good morning to you.
Hi, Brett. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. Ballarat's been your creative home for some time.
It has. I started here in 2007 as a lecturer at Ballarat Uni. I was there for 3 years. And I've joined community groups since 2019. So I get a lot of inspiration travelling down that highway.
I bet you do. You've joined a choir here and also a ukulele group with U3A?
Yes, that's right. So a big shout out to my buddies at With One Voice choir in Ballarat and the ukulele minstrels, and we just have lots of fun together.
I bet you do. Those ukulele groups are amazing. The sound you guys make.
Yeah.
Wow. It must be quite uplifting, actually, is it?
Oh, it is. It's the highlight of my week.
Is it really?
Coming down here and singing and playing music, it's just so uplifting.
Now, our discussion today should really be titled, Mirella, from Melbourne to Italy via Ballarat, an adoption memoir. Your story, as I mentioned at the top, has been years in the making. So you were adopted, was it in the 1960s in Melbourne?
Yeah, in 1964.
Okay. And you had a fire in the belly all the way along to find your actual parents?
Well, actually, the story started when I was 16, coming home from school on the bus one day, and this person who was an old friend of my father who had since passed away casually said to me, "And you know your father wasn't your father." So
casually said that to you? Did that rock your world?
Oh, of course it did.
Yeah.
It shattered my world. So when I got off that bus, the world that I knew was no longer that world.
Yeah. So what did you do? Did you desperately start that search?
I made some inquiries. In those days, we had the phone book, and I think I rang up Jigsaw, but they said you can't do anything till you're 18.
Oh, okay.
And then when I was 18, in Victoria, we had closed adoptions. So I actually wasn't allowed to access my birth certificate.
So the information was there, but under lock and key?
Yes, under lock and key. And it wasn't until 1984 that those laws were changed. At that time, I wasn't in the headspace to look because it's quite a daunting thing to do. So I didn't actually go searching until I was 26. I got my adoption papers and I looked up my birth mother, found her. She was willing to meet me, so we met. Complicated story. I couldn't be part of her family. Oh. So more secrets on top of secrets, so I kind of left it. But the only thing she told me about my birth father was that his name was Giuseppe and that he lived in Carlton, and I knew that he was 26, brown hair, brown eyes, and there was some kind of family business. I had 7 bits of information, and that's all I had until 2 years ago.
A fella called Giuseppe with brown eyes, brown hair in Carlton running a business.
In Carlton.
That could be any one of hundreds of thousands of people, couldn't it, eh?
Yes, exactly right.
So from there, Mirella, what was next?
So what happened was I actually did a DNA test in the end of 2018 and didn't really think much of it because I really didn't understand the technology. And then in the start of 2023, so every so often I would start this search again. Yeah. And I joined a group called DNA Detectives. So for anyone who's searching, I highly recommend you join this group.
So it's kind of a helping hand
in
on
Facebook.
The DNA and research space.
That's right.
Right.
And so one really helpful tip, they said, that if you get a name on a family tree, to trace down, look up their obituary.
Ah, okay. There'll be lots of names there, won't there?
Yeah. So one day I was just on my iPad. I was just looking at my heritage list again. There was a match, a DNA match, a third, fourth cousin that lived in France. So tiny DNA match, but she happened to have a family tree.
Handy.
And on this family tree there was actually a photo of this man.
Yeah.
And I looked at that man and thought, there's something similar in those eyes, in his brow. Yes.
From a scratchy old photo?
From a scratchy old photo. And then you can just click on all sorts of things. Then I found out he had a son called Bartolomeo. Then I found out he had come to Australia And I thought, okay.
Okay, this is getting better.
This is getting better. Then I looked up electoral rolls. This guy had lived in Carlton, right? And so we're getting closer. And then I looked him up. I looked up an obituary.
Okay.
And I found an obituary. He had 9 children.
He was busy.
And one of those children was a Giuseppe.
Right.
And, like, this is all happening, like, within minutes. Just one night, casually one night.
It's gone from years and
from
years
nothing,
and years.
for decades of knowing nothing
Wow.
to suddenly finding this huge family.
Yeah.
And so then I was looking up Giuseppe. Now, I don't want to spoil it too much for the readers.
That's right. Spoiler alert.
Big spoiler alert. But Giuseppe has links with one of Australia's unsolved murder mysteries,
Ooh.
the Colin Winchester. I don't know if you know Colin Winchester.
I'm familiar with it.
Okay,
a little.
so I googled Giuseppe and things like mafia and all sorts of stuff came up, and I'm thinking, nah, that's not him. That's some other Giuseppe. Anyway, then I was able to find out his age, so he matched the age. He had lived in Carlton. I found that there was a family business called the Verduci brothers.
What sort of business was it, out of
It
interest?
was furniture and electrical.
Okay.
He was like a precursor to Harvey Norman. He had about 9 shops.
Wow.
Very successful in the late 50s, 60s. And then I went stalking Facebook pages because then by this stage I had so many names.
Yeah.
And so I sent out messages to people, and you've got to be really careful how you approach people because some people will just kind of run away and they don't want to know.
Yeah, some people are probably very private.
Private,
Yeah, why are you probing into my family?
Yeah, and so I just sent out a few messages. Hey, I'm just looking up my family tree. Do you know a so-and-so?
Yeah.
And this is only a few days later after I had found him, right? So it was the Tuesday night. On Monday morning, I got a response, and this person said, yeah, that's my uncle.
Here we go.
And at this stage, he would have been 85.
Yeah.
And I'm not expecting to find him at all, but not expecting him to find alive.
That's a ripe old age.
Yeah, and I said, is he still alive? She said, yeah, he's still alive.
What year was this?
This is 2 years ago, 2023 in March. And so she said, leave it with me. I'm going to pass this info on to my father. And the next day he called me and said, how about we have a coffee the following week? I will talk to my brother on Saturday. On the Saturday, I got a text message saying he wants to come to lunch to meet you.
Boy, oh boy.
So within the space of like 2 weeks, I'm sitting there having lunch with my father and my uncle.
OMG, Mirella, what a story. And your dad is still with us today?
Yes, he's
87.
88. 88.
Yeah. What a great story. So you've put all this in your memoir. It's called the Kintsugi Poet. Now, if that word sounds familiar, that's the Japanese art of repairing broken ceramics with gold. Why that title on an Italian story, an Italian-Australian story?
Yes. Well, when I found out I was adopted that day on that bus when I was 16, it was like stepping onto the ground and my world just, as I knew it, fell apart. And also my childhood wasn't great. So I had this other kind of trauma on top of trauma.
Yeah.
And my identity was, I just felt like a fractured person. And for most of my life, there was a great big half missing of my identity.
Right.
And so that's why the Kintsugi. So it was about, over all those decades, building an identity from the pieces that I had.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That is really, really lovely. What a story. I read with interest too. You can read your book in both directions, forward as an investigation or backward as a reckoning. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, well, I was just trying to be fancy as a writer.
I love what you've done there. Now, Mirella, the good news is your book, The Kintsugi Poet, this is as fresh as. You're going to be dropping some copies into Collins booksellers today. But if people would like to meet you, you'll be author in residence when?
On the 25th of October between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m.
Okay, so you'll be there for the traditional book signing. The fans will be queuing up.
That's right.
And you can be telling your story. We've only just touched on it today, but it's an absolutely amazing one. Mirella, we love that you call Ballarat your creative home. Thanks for dropping by and sharing your story on our show today. Good on you.
Thank you, Bert. Thanks for having me.